welcome to Hero Villains. Thank you for always watching and supporting the channel. Who do you think will win between Doc Samson and Luke Cage? Luke Cage, once a street thug who was framed and wrongly imprisoned, became a superhero after undergoing a biological experiment. The result? His skin became super hard like steel, bulletproof, extremely impact resistant, along with strength far beyond that of a normal person. Able to lift more than 25 tons, Luke is also a skilled street fighter with experience surviving in harsh environments and a strong will that makes him a heroic symbol of Harlem. Doc Samson's real name is Leonard Samson, a psychologist who was irradiated with gamma radiation similar to the Hulk. Although he does not transform like Bruce Banner, Samson possesses characteristic blue hair and enormous strength, enough to confront even heavy enemies. His physical strength increases with gamma exposure. He can lift up to 70 tons, and his speed and durability are extraordinary. In addition, his scholarly intelligence and psychological analysis skills help him understand and exploit his opponent's weaknesses. Before we dive into the analysis, please click the subscribe button and remember to turn on notifications and click the bell icon. Thank you very much. Born and raised in the chaotic Harlem neighborhood, Carl Lucas was just an ordinary teenager, but circumstances dragged him into the darkness of the criminal world. He was drawn into street gangs where violence, power, and false dreams of glory reigned. Becoming a mafia boss was not something to be feared, but a goal worth pursuing. However, when his sinful behavior began to affect the families of those he truly loved, Carl had a revelation. He abandoned his old path, tried to reform and make a living honestly. However, he kept in touch with Willis Stryker, his close friend and former gang member. Everything fell apart when Stryker, out of jealousy and hatred, set a trap for Carl by hiding drugs in his apartment. With no chance of defense, Carl was arrested and sentenced to 20 years in Seagate Prison, known for its harshness and brutality, nicknamed Little Alcatraz. Carl gradually adapted to the harsh environment, but in his heart, he always held out hope of clearing his name. He spent his time studying law, improving his knowledge, and maintaining his desire to clear his name. However, he soon became the target of the cruel guards, especially Albert Rackham, who tortured and humiliated him for his own sick pleasure. In the midst of the darkness of the prison, a ray of light suddenly appeared in the form of Dr. Noah Burstein, a scientist conducting groundbreaking medical experiments. Recognizing Carl's potential, Burstein offered him an experimental treatment that recreated the super soldier serum that created Captain America. Although Burstein's original intention was not to create a new soldier, the side effects of the experiment forever changed Carl Lucas's life. Although the experiment was originally designed to destroy Carl Lucas, it was one of the guards' intentions to kill him instead. But his body grew exponentially, his muscles were restructured to the point of super strength, his skin became thick and durable enough to withstand all forms of physical attack. With his newly awakened power, he broke through the bars, smashed through the stone walls, and escaped from Seagate Prison in a raging storm. After escaping, Carl returned to New York City with a new identity. He stopped a robbery at a small diner. This righteous act caused the owner to ask him to leave and compensate him for fear of getting him into trouble. It was that moment that sparked his rebirth. He decided to abandon the name Carl Lucas, the painful past, and the old sins. He chose for himself a new name, Luke Cage. Is a symbol of endurance, indomitable, and indomitable. With his physical ability, Luke can lift thousands of pounds as easily as lifting a chair. His fists are powerful enough to punch through 4-inch thick steel walls, creating a thunderous boom when they collide. His skin is not only bulletproof, but also immune to fire, electricity, and other harsh physical agents. The dense muscle tissue created by the experiments has turned him into a mobile wall, in an impenetrable living fortress. Luke's regenerative abilities are also outstanding. He can recover from serious injuries in a short period of time, 3 times faster than a normal person. No matter how deep the wound is, it will only leave a faint trace, quickly replaced by a tough, dark skin. Luke possesses excellent hand-to-hand combat skills, making him a true warrior in any situation. But Luke Cage is soon tested when he is forced to face a ghost from the past, Willis Stryker, his childhood friend who also brutally betrayed him. During Luke's incarceration, Stryker had risen through the ranks of the criminal world and adopted a new identity, Diamondback. He was the ruthless leader of a powerful underground crime syndicate. Surrounded by loyal henchmen and armed with cutting-edge lethal technology, Diamondback was determined to destroy Luke, not only to protect his position, but also to prove that he was the strongest man to come out of Harlem. He had planned carefully, kidnapping Claire, whom Luke trusted and loved, as a way to draw him into the fight. He crafted a series of specialized weapons, knives so sharp they could pierce Luke's impenetrable skin. Luke fought not only to save Claire, but also to find answers to the pain he had endured during his years in prison. Diamondback, with hatred ingrained in his mind, denied any guilt. He denied ever framing Carl Lucas, denied the slander that had plunged his old friend's life into darkness. Anger and frustration coursed through Luke's every punch, while Diamondback moved like a ghost, delivering deadly blows with the weapons he had created. In a moment of carelessness, he slipped in the melee and fell through the glass roof, his body colliding violently with the iron bars below. The blades he had created to kill Luke were now the cause of his own tragic death. Diamondback's death not only ended a bloody chapter, but also left Luke with an indescribable emptiness. Luke Cage encountered a series of dangerous opponents, each with his own motives and a unique threat. The three names that stood out were Gideon Mace, Armand Loring, and the ruthless gang leader, Black Mariah. Gideon Mace, a war-torn veteran, was a warmonger with a deep hatred for the United States government. Mace planned to rob several Wall Street banks using military weapons and a getaway helicopter. The plan was foiled when Luke Cage appeared at the right time. In a dramatic confrontation filled with bullets and roaring propellers, Luke drove Mace's helicopter straight into the gray waters of the Hudson River, ending the riot plot before it could explode. Armand Loring was a different kind of opponent. With incredible acrobatics and unpredictable speed, he uses his agile fighting techniques as a deadly weapon. No matter how fast he spins like a tornado, he cannot overcome Luke Cage's durability and steel-like strength. Black Mariah, on the other hand, does not need skillful moves to spread terror. As the leader of a criminal organization that specializes in robbing the dead, Mariah runs the gang with an iron fist and a heart without mercy. When Cage first encounters Mariah, he must face not only a sophisticated plot, but also a large group of henchmen willing to risk their lives at her command. Even cosmic figures have clashed with Luke Cage. One notable case is Dr. Doom. The arrogant king of Latveria hired Luke to carry out a mission in New York, promising him a decent salary. But when the job was done, he left without paying Luke a mere $200, 0 cents. Without warning, he infiltrates Doom's castle in Latveria, bypassing the guards and machines to confront the tyrant directly and demand the exact amount of money he owes. Initially, Luke Cage's strength allowed him to lift around 5 tons. He then began training, and after years of experience, Luke can now lift over 25 tons. However, Cage's strength skyrocketed to levels far higher than his 50-ton capacity. He can not only lift a large bulldozer over his head, but also throw it without breaking a sweat. Luke Cage, he knocked Rhino out with a single punch, and Rhino took punches from Spider-Man without even getting dizzy. Cage caused small earthquakes while fighting a powerful alien. He may not be the Hulk, but Luke Cage is no joke. Luke Cage proves himself not only to be a resilient warrior, but also an unyielding icon. Subscribe to the channel, it helps us a lot, and you will see great videos every day. You are the best. Thank you very much. Doc Samson, real name Leonard Samson, is one of the prominent characters in Marvel, especially thanks to his close connection with the Hulk and the science of gamma radiation. A brilliant psychologist, Leonard was exposed to gamma energy in an experiment to cure Bruce Banner. Instead of causing uncontrolled transformations like the Hulk, the effects of radiation on Samson were stable and beneficial. He developed an outstanding physique, a muscular physique, characteristic green hair, and extraordinary strength. Doc Samson's strength is determined to be able to lift tens of tons. He once reached the threshold of more than 70 tons when in his prime. Although not reaching the level of raw strength of the Hulk, Samson is still capable of dealing with beings with superhuman strength. He also possesses enhanced speed, endurance, and healing factor due to gamma radiation, allowing his body to recover rapidly from serious injuries. His abilities have grown tremendously, although the exact limits have yet to be determined. A notable detail of the recent storyline is that Samson, after his death, was reborn in the body of the recently sacrificed Walter Lankowski and became a new hybrid version known as Doc Sasquatch. This is an event that is symbolic of the unusual regenerative abilities that many gamma-mutated creatures have displayed. However, in Samson's case, the green door, a metaphysical mechanism that allows for resurrection, was blocked by the leader, forcing him to return in a different form, both familiar and unfamiliar. This transformation makes Samson not only stronger, but also more dangerous, as he possesses both human knowledge and willpower, as well as the primal power of the Sasquatch creature. Psychiatrist Leonard Samson approaches General Thaddeus Ross with a daring plan to save his daughter Betty Ross, who is in critical condition after her body was transformed into a living crystal as a result of an unusual blood transfusion involving the Sandman. Faced with this situation, Samson believed that only by directly interfering with the gamma and psionic energies could the strange transformation be reversed. He proposed the design of a special device called a cathexis projector. Gamma energy and psionic mind energy, both of which were emitted from Bruce Banner's body when he transformed into the Hulk. Samson's goal was not only to rescue Betty, but also to restore Banner's humanity, ending his days of living in fear due to his uncontrolled transformations into a giant creature that destroyed everything. Under the blue-white light of the laboratory, the cathexis machine started up. The metal pipes vibrated with the energy pressure. Banner, ready to sacrifice himself. The result was beyond expectation. Betty Ross slowly regained her human form. The crystalline shell shattered like glass in the sunlight, revealing the vibrant pink skin underneath. It was a moment that was both scientific and intensely emotional. But the price was the psionic energy being drained. However, most of the psionic energy that Banner had drained, as well as a significant amount of his excess gamma radiation, remained in the cathexis. Samson later lost his physical form and superhuman strength when he was subjected to a concentrated blast of gamma radiation intended for the Hulk. However, months later, Samson regained his gamma mutant form and superhuman strength when he was bombarded with intense radiation from an exploding gamatron, an experimental gamma ray generator. He has remained in this form ever since. Doc Samson, as he is known, has long sought to capture and permanently cure the Hulk. Samson has been working as a college professor in recent times as the Hulk traveled through another dimension, unable to return to Earth. But Samson returned to pursue the Hulk after the monster reappeared on Earth. The Hulk is not Samson's sole focus, although Banner is his main focus. Samson played a key role in the capture of the first known gamma-powered serial killer, Patchwork, as well as assisting others affected by gamma radiation such as Initiative Recruit Geiger. Doc Samson also attempted to help Penance of the Thunderbolts deal with his involvement in the Stamford tragedy, as well as delaying, if not destroying, the rise of Norman Osborn. Samson remains an integral part of the Intelligentsia's plans, as he was key in manipulating Red She-Hulk into doing their bidding. His involvement in brainwashing her also helped save her life after she was stabbed through the chest by the Hulk's son, Scar. Simply seeing Samson's face was enough to enrage Betty, triggering her transformation and allowing her healing ability to heal her wounds. Doc Samson, with his enhanced powers, has repeatedly faced off against entities possessing extraordinary energy, including those of the same gamma mutant type. While most of his fights with the Hulk ended in a draw, Samson was surprisingly able to effectively counter the Hulk's rage and superhuman strength, something few creatures could do without being crushed. One of his most notable feats was his confrontation with the Abomination, a creature with a terrifying rage, a physical presence, and a ruthless fighting ability. Samson not only held his own, but also prevailed, showing that his tactical analysis combined with his brute strength could make the difference against physically superior foes. In one tense fight in an abandoned industrial area, the spotlight shining through the thick smoke and dust reflected the Abomination's flaming body and Samson's muscular figure, clenching his fists, each blow resounding and shaking the steel ground. Samson's ability to withstand blows was also a point that surprised his opponents. Every time he was pushed back, he would bounce back, with a steadfast gaze and a stance ready to continue fighting, as if his unbreakable spirit was an inseparable part of his nature. Through each battle, Doc Samson not only proved himself to be a tenacious warrior, but also a symbol of the balance between reason and strength, between science and instinct. He didn't need to be the strongest to win, just strong enough not to fall. According to official statistics in the Marvel Universe Handbook, both are classified as having a lifting capacity of around 25 tons, creating a clear physical balance. However, after many years of training and experiencing increasingly fierce battles, Luke Cage is now estimated to be able to lift up to 50 tons, demonstrating his steady and impressive evolution from a street fighter to a global superhero icon. Meanwhile, Doc Samson, with his strength enhanced by gamma radiation, is mainly classified as a character with an estimated lifting capacity of around 70 tons, depending on his physical and mental state in each specific situation. Luke Cage is a warrior who has gradually moved through all walks of life and combat environments. From the dusty alleys of Harlem to the cosmic battlefronts, he has left his mark as a symbol of enduring strength and indomitable spirit. He has been compared to Spider-Man in terms of physical strength and speed, but Cage's most notable traits are his extraordinary endurance and skin that is harder than steel. One of his greatest challenges was his confrontation with Ben Grimm the Thing, when Ben was using the Thing exoskeleton armor created by genius Reed Richards. This armor was designed to restore 90% of the Class 85 strength that Ben once possessed before losing his ability to transform. Each punch seemed to tear apart space, the concrete floor cracked under each step. Despite the difference in absolute strength, Cage did not back down. He used smart tactics, exploiting the weakness in the armor's movements to balance the situation. What makes Luke Cage special is not just his muscles or his ability to withstand blows, he is on par with the most powerful entities. There was a time when Luke Cage was portrayed as being significantly weaker than a normal silverback gorilla. However, Cage is currently one of the characters with the highest endurance and resistance. However, in terms of sheer physical strength alone, Doc Samson has often been shown to be superior to Cage in many stages of the official timeline. Due to the effects of gamma radiation, Samson's physical condition is often ranked higher in terms of lifting heavy objects as well as impact force in combat. However, in a situation where both entities reach an equal level of strength, the advantage can tilt towards Luke Cage due to his superior fighting skills. Cage has been trained and fought constantly in harsh street environments. Cage's punches are not only heavy, but also precise and tactical, taking advantage of even the smallest openings. Doc Samson, while strong, is often portrayed as a fighter who relies more on raw strength than fighting technique. He has a solid scientific background, but his fighting style lacks the versatility that Cage possesses. Therefore, in fights where the two characters are physically equal, the ability to strike effectively and read the opponent will be decisive, and that is where Luke Cage holds a clear advantage. Luke Cage went toe-to-toe with Doc Samson and won. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Follow me if you like. That's it for today's video. Thanks a lot.